தமிழரின் பாரம்பரிய திருவிழாவை கொண்டாடுவோம் புத்தாடை பொங்கலோடு. The Chennai Silks. Let the celebrations begin.
இப்போது புதிய அறிமுகம் ஆச்சி ஹோட்டல் சாம்பார் 50 கிராம் ரூபாய் 20 மட்டுமே.
Taste Daily. Taste the Daily.
EC member, Mr. Andy Giri, Chairman, Soft Square Limited, and Mr. Gopi Gopalakrishnan. We look forward to an inspiring day filled with a spirit of innovation, with insightful discussions and meaningful collaborations. Thank you all for being here and making this event a grand success. Welcome once again.
Thank you, Mary ma'am, for the warm and gracious words. I'm extremely sorry I missed out Mr. Irai Madiyalagan, Global President of AATRAL. Sir, will you please come up and join us in this dais? Let's now illuminate the path to progress and prosperity with the traditional lighting of the lamp, symbolizing wisdom and knowledge. I request our dignitaries on the stage to kindly proceed with the lighting ceremony. I request Dr. Tanshri Palan, Pro-Chancellor, Cyber University, Malaysia, to come up on the stage and light the lamp. Dr. Vetrivel, Chairman of Pivel Group of Hospitals, Advocate Kanimoli, co-founder of Sidasis, our respected Principal, Dr. Lillian I. Jasper, and our father, Reverend Jagannath Jasper Raj, to come to light up the lamp. Now I request our Honorable Minister for Information Technology and Digital Services, Government of Tamil Nadu, Dr. Palanivel Thiagarajan, to light the lamp. Moving forward, we are privileged to have our respected Principal Madam, Dr. Lillian I. Jasper, whose insight and expertise will undoubtedly enrich our understanding of the theme. Now I invite ma'am to deliver the keynote address.
Good morning to all of you. This is not the keynote address, but it's more a felicitation and a celebration of all that has happened to WCC through the RISE. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to our beautiful campus once again. The RISE is no stranger to WCC, and we fondly remember the conference we had here. We met some really wonderful people who have become friends of the college. We listened to some fabulous ideas on entrepreneurship, which has helped us in our journey towards it. One of the participants gave our plant biology department faculty and students a talk on QR codes, which we were able to implement on the trees on campus. I would like to thank the RISE for choosing our campus and Father Jagat Gasper for reposing confidence in us. It is my pleasure to welcome a number of dignitaries who have graced this occasion. Mr. Cecil Sundar, Director Microsoft, Mr. Tanshri Palan, Pro-Chancellor, Cyber University, which is our partner university. Many of our students keep going there every year. Mr. Dr. Vetrivel, Chairman of BWEL, Mr. Ganesh Radhakrishnan, CEO from the USA, Ms. Kanimoli Mati, advocate, who's here with us, Mr. Sid, and many other such dignitaries whom I've had the pleasure of meeting. So thank you so much for being here with us. I first met our Honorable Minister, P.T. Palanivel Thiagarajan, in the RISE conference and have subsequently listened to his pragmatic, rational speeches in a world which has too many ideologies and has moved away from reality. He has literally fired our imagination, especially in the realm of what is the reality of our country and in terms of economics and now in terms of IT. And he's been one fiery advocate for progress. And sir, from our end, from all educationists, you have been a source of inspiration because you have pushed education and progressive ideas. Thank you, sir, for being the voice of reason and helping us to reflect on the direction that we need to take to be inclusive and progressive. This conference on deep learning and quantum computing will definitely help our students to scale new heights. The last 3 years, 3 of our students have been placed in the United Nations in Washington, D.C. One of them is a 23-year-old diplomat in International Monetary Fund, another with the International Red Cross in Geneva, and the third with the World Health Organization in France. Last year, 5 students were recruited by the World Bank. So, the ideas that students pick up during sessions like these are both inspirational and life-changing. In fact, the girl who's joined WHO said that when she attended one of our conferences like this, an international conference, she was triggered to think in terms of the United Nations, and that's what pushed her towards it. So I'm sure that for all of you from the RISE, in the words of Michelle Obama, lending your time and energy to a cause you believe matters. I would like to assure you that it's time well spent. Thank you very much for this meaningful initiative. Dear students and faculty, I'm sure that in many ways, this program is going to be life-changing for all of you as you listen to our eminent speakers. Thank you one and all.
Thank you, ma'am, for that enlightening and thought-provoking address. Now, let us understand the essence and objectives of this conference. To provide a brief introduction on the idea of RISE, deeptech Alliance International, I request Father Dr. Jagannath Gaspar Raj, founder of RISE, to come upon the dais.
Honorable Minister, Principal, dignitaries on the stage, and my good friends and my dear students. How many of you here can't understand Tamil? How many? So most of you can understand Tamil, right? Can? One or two? Okay, I'll be bilingual, that's why I asked. Why this summit? See, it's a historic day. In a way, very defining day, probably God appointed and anointed day. For the simple reason, you have some of the extraordinary personalities. Half an hour ago, we were sitting there on the lounge and we were conversing about IT minister. So he said this word, he's not just intelligent, he's insanely intelligent. Give a big hand. I mean, if we can list 100, I mean, he's well qualified, he's a professional, but much more than that, if you can list 100 public intellectuals who have the faculties and capacities to influence public policy in the world, I'm saying, I mean, he is part of the government today. Definitely, Mr. Honorable Palanivel Thiagarajan sir will come within the 20 people who have the capacities to influence the world. And I repeat the word, he is insanely intelligent and he has a heart for the community and he can project the future. And you have other extraordinary personalities. I mean, sitting down there, you know, he looks very humble. Ganesh Radhakrishnan sir, he's an algorithm man. அவர் வந்து எந்த அல்காரிதத்தையும் தலைகீழாக எழுதுனாலும் எழுதுவார், ரைட் லெஃப்ட் சென்டர் என்ன எழுதுவார். The last company he exited $500 million. When I asked him to come to London, முதல்ல அவரை பார்த்தப்போ வந்து யாரும் அவர் பக்கத்தில் போகல. ஏன்னா ரொம்ப ஒரு மாதிரி இருந்தாராம். அவர்கிட்ட போனால் நம்மகிட்ட ஏதாவது காசு கேட்டுருவாரோ அப்படிங்கிற பயத்தில் யாரும் போகல அவர்கிட்ட. லேட்டர் ஒன்லி நோ ப்ராப்ளம், ஐ கேன் ஃப்ளை மை ஜெட் அண்ட் கம் டு யுவர் சமிட்னு சொல்கிற அளவுக்கு உள்ளவர் தான் அங்கே வந்து உட்காந்து. இஸ் அ கிரேட் மேன். அண்ட் வேறு எதுவுமே தேவையில்லை. ஈரோட்டிலேருந்து ஒரு தம்பி மைக்ரோசாஃப்ட்டுக்கு ஆர்டிஃபிஷியல் இன்டெலிஜென்ஸுக்கு டைரக்டர் ஆகணும்னா அவர் எப்படிப்பட்ட ஆளாக இருக்கணும் இல்லைங்களா? Cecil Sundar, who is here. And Tansri Palan is an amazing educationist and visionary. Amazing, incredibly amazing visionary. Founder of Cyberjaya University and also Asia Metropolitan University. And he also he built 2 public listed companies. He is a great entrepreneur. And Dr. Vettivel Beeval ஒரு ஹாஸ்பிட்டல் பார்த்துருப்பீங்க. அதனுடைய சாதாரண ஒரு கிராமத்து வத்ராய்ப்புங்கிற ஒரு கிராமத்திலேருந்து வந்து ஒரு பெரிய ஒரு ஹெல்த் செயின் உருவாக்கியிருக்கிற டாக்டர் வெற்றிவேல் அவருக்கு நீங்கள் கரவொலி கொடுக்கணும். அண்ட் திருச்சியில் வந்து அவருடைய வாழ்க்கையை வந்து வெறும் ஒரு 8,800 ரூபா 10,000 ரூபா சம்பளத்துக்கு ஆரம்பித்த ஒரு மனுஷன், ஒரு இளைஞர், மீண்டும் சொல்கிறேன், 8,500 rupees ஆரம்பித்தவர் இன்னைக்கு அமெரிக்காவில் வந்து 56th ஃபாஸ்டஸ்ட் க்ரோயிங் கம்பெனின்னு சொல்கிற வீடாட்டுங்கிற ஒரு கம்பெனி ஆரம்பிச்சிருக்கிறாரு. அப்போது அவரோட விஷன் என்னன்னு போன வாரம் ஒரு இன்டர்வியூவில் கேட்டப்போ வந்து வித்தின் த நெக்ஸ்ட் 2-3 years திருச்சியிலேயே 10,000 பேருக்கு வேலை வாங்கி கொடுக்கணும், வேலை உருவாக்கி கொடுக்கணும். அதுதான் என்னோட. ஸோ திஸ் இஸ் த கைண்ட் ஆஃப் வார் அட்வொகேட் கனிமொழி ஹியர். எல்லாரும் இன்னைக்கு நேற்று கூட ஆனரபிள் மினிஸ்டர் ஃபார் ஆர்கியாலஜி சொல்லியிருந்தாங்க, கீழடியை வந்து மியூசியம் கட்டியிருக்கிறோம், 6 லட்சம் பேர் வந்து பார்த்து போயிருக்காங்கன்னு. பட் யாருக்கும் தெரியாத ஒரு விஷயம் என்னென்னா, அந்த ஆர்கியலாஜிக்கல் சைட்டை ஃபர்தராக எதுவும் நடக்கக்கூடாது, மூடணும்னு ஒரு முடிவு எடுக்கப்பட்ட போது அதை மூடக்கூடாது, தொடர்ந்து ஆய்வு நடக்கணும். அது மட்டும் இல்லை, அங்கே கண்டெடுக்கப்படுகிற பொருட்கள் தமிழ்நாட்டை விட்டு வெளியே கொண்டு போகக்கூடாது, அந்த இடத்துலையே ஒரு மியூசியம் வைக்கணும்னு கோர்ட்டுக்கு போய் ஆர்டர் வாங்கிட்டு வந்த ஒரு யங் அட்வொகேட் தான் அட்வொகேட் கனிமொழி மதி அவர்கள். இருக்காங்களான்னு தெரியல. I think she has left. So, why I am saying this, an insanely intelligent minister and all other such intelligent people here, எல்லாரும் இந்த மாநாடு என்ன கேட்குதுன்னா, இந்த மானுடத்திற்கான ஒரு இதயத்திற்காக நிற்பது, டு பி த ஹார்ட் ஆஃப் ஹியூமனிட்டி, அதுதான் முக்கியமானது. அந்த வேண்டுகோளுக்காகத்தான் இப்போ நம்ம எல்லாம் 1000 பேர் சொல்றதை விட இப்படிப்பட்ட ஒரு 10 பேர் சேர்ந்து உலகத்துக்கு சொன்னாங்கன்னா அந்த குரல் உலகத்திற்கு கேட்கும். That is where the rise would like to come in, to defend the civilization, to defend humanity. I mean, humanity will survive, though there are fears about AI and the other things, super intelligence or whatever going to come. But you have to build a narrative, you have to build a discourse which will lead to public policies. That intervention can be done only by coming together of such extraordinary personalities, not only from the field of technology or AI, from social sciences, from activism. They have to come together. This is how technology has to be guided and moderated. ஒரே ஒரு உதாரணத்தை சொல்லி நான் முடிக்க விரும்புகிறேன். ஏன் why we are here. 40 வருஷத்துக்கு முன்னாடி நான் வந்து பிரைமரி ஸ்கூலில் இருந்தப்போ பிளக்கார்டை கொடுத்து 3க்கு மேல் ஒருபோதும் வேண்டாம். புரியுதா உங்களுக்கு? உங்களுக்கெல்லாம் புரியாது. எங்களுக்கு அப்போ சொன்னாங்க, ஐ மீன் ஃபேமிலி பிளானிங், 3க்கு மேல் ஒருபோதும் வேண்டான்னு. மிடில் கிளாஸுக்கு வந்தபோது நாம் இருவர் நமக்கு இருவர் அப்படின்னு கேம்பெயின் பண்ண சொன்னாங்க. நாங்கெல்லாம் பிளக்கார்ட் பிடிச்சோம். அதே இது நான் ஹை ஸ்கூலுக்கு வந்தபோது நாம் இருவர் நமக்கு ஒருவர் அப்படின்னு சொன்னாங்க. நான் +2க்கு வந்தப்போ அதே பிளக்கார்டு எப்படி மாறுச்சுன்னா, நீ ஒரு குழந்தை, நான் ஒரு குழந்தை, நமக்கே குழந்தை, இப்படின்னு மாறிடுச்சு. எதுக்கு சொல்றேன்னா, ஃபெர்டிலிட்டி வாஸ் அ கிவன். திருமணமானால் குழந்தை பிறக்கும் என்பது இட் வாஸ் அ கிவன். ஃபெர்டிலிட்டி வாஸ் கிவன். இது வந்து கடந்த நூற்றாண்டில் அல்ல, ஒரு 40 வருஷத்துக்கு முன்னாடி. இன்னைக்கு என்ன நிலைமை? இன்னைக்கு எந்த ஒரு தெருவுக்கு போனாலும், எந்த நகரத்துக்கு போனாலும் செயற்கை கருத்தரிப்பு மருத்துவமனைகள் இல்லாத நகரங்கள் இல்லை. உண்மையா இல்லைங்களா? ரைட் ஆர் ராங்? So something has changed, right? இந்த இடத்துல தான் வந்து சிவிலைசேஷனல் இன்டர்வென்ஷன் இஸ் நீடட். இட்ஸ் ஜஸ்ட் தட் சிவிலைசேஷனல் இன்டர்வென்ஷன் இஸ் நீடட் டு கொஸ்டின். அப்படி இருந்தனா இப்படி வந்துட்டோம். இந்த கேள்வியை வந்து ஒரு 30 வருஷத்துக்கு முன்னாடி நம்ம கேட்டிருப்போம்னா, ஒருவேளை உடம்பை வளர்த்தேன் உயிர் வளர்த்தேன்ங்கிற திருமூலரை இன்னும் நம்ம கெட்டியாக பிடிச்சிருப்போம், இன்னும் ரொம்ப கெட்டியாக பிடிச்சிருப்போம். We would have bodily sovereignty. நேஷன்ஸுக்கு மட்டும் இல்லை சாவர்னிட்டி, உடம்புக்கும் ஒரு இறையாண்மை உண்டு. அந்த பாடி சாவர்னிட்டியை நம்ம இழக்கக்கூடாது அப்படின்னு ஒருவேளை அந்த விழிப்புணர்வுலாம் வந்திருக்கும். அந்த இன்டர்வென்ஷன் நடக்கல, சிவிலைசேஷனல் இன்டர்வென்ஷன் நடக்கல. Therefore today deeptech இன்டெலிஜென்ஸ் இன்டர்நேஷனல் இப்படி ஒரு ஒரு அமைப்பை உருவாக்குறது. இது வந்து 100 பேர் 1000 பேர் கொண்ட அமைப்பு அல்ல, வெறும் ஒரு சிறிய குழு which will keep a discourse on behalf of humanity in the era of artificial intelligence and whatever going to come beyond artificial intelligence. மனிதத்திற்காக, because nuclear energy வந்தப்போ ரொம்ப பயப்பட்டாங்க, but some pragmatic prudence and strategic deterrence accidentally happened around the world. We have survived. But இப்போ நமக்கு வந்திருக்கிற டெக்னாலஜி மேலே நமக்கு it knows our interior. It can take control of our interior and they can also independently take decisions and take control of many things. அப்போ பப்ளிக் பாலிசிங்கிறது முக்கியங்கிறனால இந்த ஒரு அமைப்பை தொடங்குகின்றோம். இந்த அமைப்பில் முதல் மனிதராக இருப்பதற்கு எங்கள் அமைப்பிற்குள் நாங்கள் ஒரு முதன்மை நல்ல ஆளுமையாகவும் அறிவு ஆளுமையாகவும் போற்றுகிற திரு கணேஷ் ராதாகிருஷ்ணன் அவர்கள் வந்திருக்கின்றார்கள். உங்கள் கரவொலியோடு நாம் நல்ல கரவொலி கொடுக்கலாம் அவருக்கு. இதை எடுத்து சொன்ன போது இது மிக நல்ல விஷயம் என்று மைக் இப்ப நம்ம எல்லாம் நான் சொல்றேன் 1,00,000 பேர் சேர்ந்து சொல்றதை விட மைக்ரோசாஃப்ட்ல இருக்கிற ஒரு ஏஐ டைரக்டர் சொல்றப்போ அது கேட்கப்படும். இந்த அமைப்பில் அவரும் இணைந்து செயல்படுவதாக திரு செசில் சுந்தர் அவர்களும் முன் வந்திருக்கின்றார்கள். அவருக்கும் உங்கள் கரவொலி நான் நல்லா கொடுக்கலாம், நல்லா கேட்கலாம். And as I was just walking down to the hall, I asked Chancellor Dr. Palan, because he's an educationist and a HR person and a visionary, can he also be part of this forum? And he also said, yes, please give him a So Deeptech Alliance International, and I want to ask Sid also, he's a great communicator, extraordinary communicator, right? Yes. And finally, not now, we want also our Honorable Minister to be an advisor, a guide and mentor to this idea, Deeptech Alliance International. Our பேசுறப்போ சொல்லிக்கலாம், I don't want to force him, but then we adore you, sir, we respect you, we have tremendous respect. For you, you are our asset. இல்லை
Thank you, sir, for shedding light on the purpose and significance of the gathering. Now I request Mr. Cecil Sundar, Director of Microsoft AI USA, to present on democratizing the deep tech era through mass digital education and distributed entrepreneurship, a call to students and to the youth. Over to you, sir.
Tamil Valga, good morning, everybody. Before I start, the topic was very big. I'm trying to still aggregate the topic. Everybody in the topic a complete address. I would thanks thank the Honorable Minister, my brother, my mentor, and அவர் சொன்ன மாதிரி அவங்ககிட்ட உட்காந்து நிறைய விட பேசியிருக்கேன் நான், இங்கேயும் சரி யூஎஸ்லேயும் சரி. I'm every time you learn so many things from brother and honorable minister. Such an amazing personality, very humble. Even to my kids, he has been talking in a way they can understand. Thank you for being my mentor, and thank you for everything you do for the state. Thank you so much. And Father Jagat Kasper, again, I couldn't make it last time in Davos, but thanks for giving me the honor to be here. And thank you so much. And Principal Ma'am, it's a privilege for me to be here to address the students. And my journey is different. And Ganesh Radhakrishnan, my friend Sid, distinguished dignitaries, everybody who's in the front, you all seen life more than me, much better than me, I think. I want to start with a little bit of my journey. நான் வந்து சடனாக போய் ஈரோட்டில் பிறந்து காரைக்குடியில் படித்து சடனாக போய் இதில் மைக்ரோசாஃப்டில் வந்து I didn't join. My life journey is very different. If some takeaway can be there, is that okay? Can I spend a couple of minutes? So I did my engineering in AC Tech, but before that, I was a college cricket team captain. I continued to play sports. I'm not that studious, it's meaning I somehow managed to clear first class in the engineering. Sid Mari na vandu class first kedaiyadhu, but no, he's also not class first, but I'll tell you, he's probably the last bencher. So the thing is, it doesn't matter where you start. நீ எங்கே ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணுறன்றது முக்கியம் கிடையாது. But during the college final year, I had the privilege to attend a services selection board, and that time IT ரொம்ப கிடையாது, IT wasn't there. And the campus interview, not many companies come to the campus interview also. So one of the best things you can get is government job, and that too the military services. I did my services selection board interview, and I got commissioned as an Air Force officer in the Indian Air Force. It's very privileged and prestigious for me, because I want the students to understand how life can transition, number one. And if you have the will and courage and conviction, நீங்கள் வந்து எது வேணால் பண்ணலாம் உலகத்தில். So in the Air Force, I was deployed in Ulfa area to start with in the field. Another privilege I had was, always I was in the operations in the front. Air Force, I was in Ulfa, Assam operations, when I met my lovely wife, Victoria. She was also an Air Force officer, and I met her. And from there, நாங்கள் ரெண்டு பேரும் வந்து we got posted to Jammu Kashmir. We got posted and the Kargil war started. 99 to 2002, I was deployed completely in the field with my troops, 200 people in the trenches. We could have easily walked into Pakistan and occupied. That was the spirit we had, and we won the war decisively and very well. Air Force had its role. Thank you. Air Force had its role, Army had its role. My job was to lead the squadron to protect the air defense sectors in Pathankot and Kolchak. We did extremely well. I got the medals for that. Further to that, then I got posted to Hakimpet. That's when my transition happened in life. And I'll talk about AI. How many people want to hear AI rather than this? I'll give me a little time. I'll talk about it, because this is important for you guys to understand what is growth mindset. The foundation of growth mindset is very important. At Hyderabad, I got to see the world by attending conferences like this. And what happened was, there was a realization. At one point, you will understand you have potential in you. When you have potential, is there an opportunity that you can go and conquer? You can participate and realize its potential. Time I actually decided to do my GMAT. Like Sir PTR Anna, he went to masters in US. He led many teams. Some of the aspiration you should have at this age is, it simply, again, one more time, it simply doesn't matter. நீங்கள் எங்கே இப்போ எங்கே இருக்கீன்றது முக்கியம் இல்லை, எந்த ஜாப் கிடைக்கணுன்றது முக்கியம் இல்லை, இன்றைக்கி என்ன பண்ணுறோன்றது முக்கியம் இல்லை, பட் இன்றைக்கி எப்படி நம்மளை ப்ரிப்பேர் பண்ணுறோம், how well we are preparing ourselves for the future. The future is driven by artificial intelligence era only. And I will repeat, the future is going to be deep technology. Please don't listen to anyone that is telling that there is a different opportunity going to exist than AI skill-based jobs. I'll explain to you in a bit, right? So then, from there, I wrote my GMAT. I went to one of the decent schools. I did my MBA. I took all the money I had from the Air Force. I left my commission, like pensionable jobs. Everybody was opposed to that. Only my wife and I, we were able to, she was supporting me. And I put all the investment in my MBA, and then I finished my MBA. Long story short, from there, I just literally took off. So think about this, from an engineer to a military officer to a corporate guy, I continued to scale up. And then I was in right place, right time, upgrading my skill set for cloud, AI, machine learning, and I started my life because I was multiple. Everything comes together, right? That is one. You need to start thinking, okay, what is the skill set I need to build upon? நம்ம என்னென்ன பண்ணணும் இந்த AI era. But I'll start with, this is an era of artificial intelligence. Make no mistake. That means whether you are studying engineering, marketing, business, economics, healthcare, financials, anything you touch, this is going to be driven by language in AI is going to come as a small language models in a domain specific sector. I hope Ganesh Radhakrishnan is going to talk more about quantum computing and other technologies that's coming up. But there is not a single sector, ஒரு sector கூட AI இல்லாம develop ஆகாது. Again, there is not a single sector, there is not a single person who is not going to be without AI. If the moment you take your phone, you are living, playing, and working and sleeping with AI. Understand that. Everything is in the phone, every gadget you use, every job you are going to go to is going to be driven by AI-based skill set. So what we can do better, right? Start infusing AI into the domain. That means if you are doing business and analytics courses, start thinking about how you can call artificial intelligence, the small language models. How can you use these APIs to develop a model that will be helpful for the domain you are operating in. If you are in healthcare, if you are doing nursing, I don't know which are the courses, what all courses you are doing, think about using AI for your project. Every student here, and I will challenge the faculty also, every faculty should push for AI-driven project to the students, because AI-driven growth in terms of GDP is going to be 80 to 100 trillion in the world the next decade. And I'll repeat, India is a 3.8 to 4 trillion economy. Microsoft alone is a $4 trillion company in terms of market cap. The economic prosperity is going to be driven by AI-driven solution strategy and everything. You can call machine learning, you can call deep learning, robotics, quantum computing, everything has to become. But here, this is the good news is this. Good news is you don't have to be an engineer for that. Okay? Very important thing. நம்ம வந்து engineering இருக்கணும் அவசியமே கிடையாது. Can you use AI in the domain that you are operating in? Can you use AI for better accounting practices? The productivity can improve, efficiency and effectiveness can improve, all those things. Some of the things that are core to my heart is healthcare, right? If you are doing healthcare related, studies, please think about how we can improve the quality of life of the people, the quality of the women's health, children's health, elderly health. You got to start thinking about it. That is why we need, for small language models, we need domain experts. And if you are doing biotech, genetic engineering, please use AI to accelerate the drug discovery process. And I'll tell you this personal story, and I'll share it very transparently, because many people, I want to share because I want to see somebody come to a solution. Before. For late. Reason I spent time here to come to students and talk to every college is one reason. Where somebody is going to develop this drug, which can diagnose whether in terms of CT scan, an early detection of cancer, or earlier detection of heart disease, diabetes, anything, so people can live longer for their loved ones. Do you guys get it, right? So you need to understand, this is not an opportunity to relax, sit back, and let Western countries drive their solutions, right? You need to accelerate, you need to use AI as an opportunity. You need to use AI as a platform to build and develop these products. Do you guys agree? Will you do that? So this is so important for you to recognize this is not about growth, it's not about money. It's try and solve for a work on a cause. Try and solve for a solution that enables and makes human being better, the economic prosperity better. So especially for women, when you guys become an entrepreneur, when you become a leader, it's not that one person is successful. Women have this innate ability to bring the society and ecosystem along. So I applaud you for that. Make sure that you have a very specific goal in your mind that you will be successful. And I will probably close with this statement here. There's something called growth mindset. So this is about pirapokkum ella uirukkum. So another thing is, it is everybody is equal in terms of Sir Anna talks about social justice, equality, women's empowerment, everything. This is a level playing field for the first time in the human history. Okay? Earlier we used to worry about technology transfer. Earlier we used to blame on technology why we are not progressing. Artificial intelligence is the very first time that what I see as advanced research in Seattle and Boston is available to my brothers and sisters in Karaikudi or in Chennai or in Tirunelveli. You need to understand that. If you let this level playing field go away or not push yourself harder on this opportunity, then we will be lagging behind a lot. So growth mindset is like this. Microsoft is founded on this principle of growth mindset, meaning nobody is born intelligent. I will repeat. Nobody is born intelligent. Okay? And genetically, you don't transfer all the intelligence you need to have. Genetically, diseases will transfer. Okay? So you need to make sure, just because I'm born in a certain way and born in a certain place, you don't become brilliant by being in that area. So growth mindset is simple. You have confidence in you, you have the means, you have the drive, and you continue to learn. This is it. This is how you can conquer the world, right? Think about growth mindset. Understand we have a level playing field. We can increase per capita GDP, we can increase economic prosperity, we can achieve whatever we want. This decade is the decade for India, for Tamil Nadu, especially for all the people who are sitting here. Go forward, conquer the world, and whatever you need, it's available to you at your fingertips. And you have a wonderful facility. I thank you for listening in patiently, and I wish you all the very, very, very best. And thank you for the opportunity, sir. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Mr. Cecil Sundar, Director, Microsoft AI USA, for sharing your experience and encouraging words for our students. Now I request Mr. Ganesh Radhakrishnan, CEO of FECI AI USA, to address the gathering on looking beyond the AI towards quantum computing, super intelligence, and many fascinating possibilities. Over to you, sir.
Good morning. Thanks for giving this opportunity to stand in front of all of you. First of all, I wanted to really thank our Minister PTR sir. We have very high respect for him. In fact, we both share pretty much a similar knowledge, but he is, I can say, 100x better than me because I'm only on the tech side, but he is also on the economics and finance. Also, I would like to really thank Father Jagat Kasper for giving us this opportunity because he is a real visionary. And I could see so many great people from USA, my own friends here, Dr. Palanivel sir and so many other people, Sid and Dr. Vetri, everybody is here. The reason I said he is a visionary because we all came together because Father said, guys, நம்ம தமிழர்களா இருக்கோம், you people went outside, you people went for bigger companies like நானும் ஒரு மெட்ராஸ் பையன் சொல்லணும், ஏன்னா சென்னை நாங்கள் இருக்கும்போது சென்னை கிடையாது, it is Madras. So I studied here locally in Madras IIT. I did both my undergrad, BTech and MTech, and also a master's in mathematics. They call me gold medalist, but I will say I don't know mathematics, still figuring it out. And an MBA from Wharton in USA. Of course, Peter sir is better because he went to MIT. I'm now associated with MIT too, but I had led some big roles as a vice president at HP in the labs, created products for high availability and disaster recovery. Then I was a vice president in SAP in Germany. Then I used to be an advisory to restructure Kuwait after the war for Ministry of Defense. Then I moved to US as a partner for Deloitte and a global vice president at EMC, a storage company. But I worked as an architect for NASA. I had been an advisor for World Bank for nearly 13 years on the IT side. And currently I'm an advisor to Rolls-Royce in UK. But as yeah. So I've worked on the Fortune 100 companies, nearly about 60 plus of the Fortune 100 companies. So those experience has clearly given me this opportunity to be in front of you all because this is College Road. This is the first time I'm coming into WCC, but I have traveled this road many times. I wanted to thank Dr. Lillian as a principal and their faculty members. Just because Minister sir is waiting. So I don't want it to bore here, but I can give you a lot of information. Cecil, a great friend of mine, has already talked about AI. We all know AI, you cannot avoid it. This is going to be part and parcel of our life. Whether we like it or not, it's going to indirectly impact. But as we all know, AI, in a simple term, it can mimic a human. Now, with the generative AI, it can be a human. Now, it had moved, which is in the current stage, which Mr. Cecil and all deeply work on. We call it Artificial General Intelligence, AGI, we call it. Of course, it is the current thing. But what we are talking about it is, in the past, people, when you talk technology, I go to many countries, many engineering colleges, We speak at all the major schools like Stanford, Berkeley, MITs and all. We used to only address engineering school. But as Cecil mentioned, it has largely changed. Today, honestly speaking, if you take Tamil Nadu, if you are talking the STEM courses like science, mathematics, finance, what WCC has. Technically speaking, this college is 110 plus years old school. We call it school in US, but it's college. And it comes under, like in USA, it is called the Ivy League. It is such a prestigious school. So you should all be proud of yourself to be in this school. And a great leadership like your professor, your principals, all of them. And this college has also created notable alumni in many areas. Industrialists, I'm seeing art, finance, every place. And this is something when father said we have to address, in fact, he knows that I just landed and I came directly from the airport here. The reason we are so excited to be in front of you is to share the information, what is going on. You all know artificial intelligence and generative AI, but what is happening is artificial general intelligence is going to rock, which just started. But me and Cecil and all working, like always we are way ahead of the technology. We work on ASI, which is called artificial super intelligence, which is going to, you are going to see by 27, 28, it is predominantly everybody speak about. But the next closer to ASI is called OI. The future is on the OI too, ASI and OI. OI is nothing but organic intelligence. So this is where I am closely associated with MIT, where we had, because I'm part of, they call it actually, they talked about quantum, which is the next big thing. It's a revolutionary thing. Along with artificial intelligence, if you wanted to process massive amount of data. For example, I just wanted to share one small example. There is a, like Cecil was mentioning, he lost his wife for cancer. We all heard that clearly. But there is quite a lot of research. There is a software being developed by MIT called Cybele, where we call it actually LDCT, low dose computer tomography scans. That is how people, lung cancer is one of the worst cancers, and we see that nearly in US alone, more than 100,000 people die every year, because the reason is people could not able to detect it early. The moment you see that, what happens, a radiologist look at the scan from his human eye, he cannot specifically see what in it because of a human eye. When they happen to see a nodules or a mass in it, then they declare, oh, this gentleman has a cancer, lung cancer. By then they are in the stage 3 or stage 4. That is where we are talking about how the software operates. Again, Cecil very clearly mentioned, without AI, these are all called large language model. They have built a large language model whereby it can detect a cancer 3 years, 5 years, 7 years ahead. That means you can see. What a great story I'm sharing to you. Think about 3, 5 and 7. You can detect a cancer by looking. If you can provide 3 PET scans, we call it actually a PET scan is about 2.8 trillion pixels. We analyze that and we can able to clearly mark because of the data. Now, all of us are waiting, then how do quantum makes a difference? Today, you are in a digital age. These are called classic computers. Whatever the computers you people are using in your day-to-day life is great, but when you're talking, the next level is supercomputers. But even supercomputers cannot solve certain things. That's where in today's world, your computers work either with zeros and ones. That is how a computer operates, which is simple here, everybody knows. But the quantum physics, the quantum computing operates on qubits. It is a new term, if some people have not heard. Quantum operates on qubits. What do you mean by qubits? We are called something called superposition and entanglement. I don't want to mix it. Think about a coin you flip. What happens? Today it can be a head or a tail. But think about a coin spinning. At that time, it has both the properties, both head or tail, and you cannot define that. That is called superposition. With the superposition, it is like, in a simple language, you're going to drop 1,000 coins at the same time. In today's computer, it goes one by one by one by one. Whereas we call it with entanglement, we can see all the things at the same time and it can compute. To give an example, the latest example is actually a lot of companies like Google, IBM, all the major companies are working on quantum. Quantum has a processing speed. What your today classic computer can do in 10,000 years can be done in less than 45 seconds. Again, I'm saying what your computer can do in 10,000 years. This is a very old story what I'm saying, because PTS sir is here. I have to be very careful in what data I'm talking. One thing before I move on, we have to all give a big hand for Mr. PTS sir. The reason for that, see how gifted we are for Tamil Nadu. Sir is already working with companies how to bring quantum into Tamil Nadu. That is the biggest thing. And let me give you this. Now we are talking about massive amount of data. In 2019, what I just said, 10,000 years, what your classic computer can do, we call it Google's Sycamore, can be processed in less than 45 seconds. But today, Google has accomplished something we call it 105 qubits, because each qubit, when it entangles, you have to understand today, you people are seeing, like in Tamil, நம்ம சொல்லணும்னா சூரியகாந்தி பூ இருக்கு, nature, all these things are quantum. What we are talking is, if today Google has released a new thing called Willow, they were doing a random circuit sampling in the recent period, and you won't believe it. The largest supercomputer today which exists, what today a Google Willow can solve in 5 minutes, for the largest, the biggest, you can call it the supercomputer, will take 10 with 25 zeros. We call it 10 septillion years. Even the universe did not, the age of the universe did not exist. Now you can think about it. So like I had been a part of a quantum economic development consortium. So we work on ethics and other standards. What's the difference Google has? Now people may come back and argue with me because there are great people here. I have to be careful because IBM has 433 qubits. IBM has surpassed with the latest one called Condor, which is 1,121 qubits. The biggest problem for quantum, it has to be, you have to keep the temperature to like outer space. To that extent, you have to keep it cold. And it has to keep that entanglement state. Not even like a minute, because it has a lot of errors. It can throw errors. Is quantum matured? No, but it had errors. until last month, Google came with a quantum error correction. This is a revolution. You should definitely give a hand for this. It is called a quantum error correction. Now, how it is related to artificial intelligence. Now, if you wanted to solve massive amount of data, like Cecil was saying, a new discovery, somebody, today what I'm seeing in front of this audience can be one among who can resolve or solve a new medication or a drug can be invented, because with the quantum, that much amount of data we can process and it can come out fast. Now, cyber security area. We are talking about encryption algorithm. With quantum encryption, it is no way today anybody can break. But today's algorithm, all the cryptographic keys and all, including all the Bitcoin, anything you talk about, we can break using quantum. So people are working pretty hard on it. And the most important part is for Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's disease can be really solved with the help of quantum. And also people with chemical, because here there are people who have taken chemistry, you have to mix a lot of chemicals to create new materials. These are very useful where quantum come into play. Quantum is, we call it AI is the software, quantum is going to be the hardware in a simple language. And I just wanted to give for the students why AI is so important. Quantum is the future, quantum is revolutionary, but I just wanted to give you only 5 points for this audience, because today what is evolving is generative AI. If the students can understand these 5 points, then it is good enough. The first one I would say is, you people can study about AI agents. Cecil mentioned very clearly about small language model. This is the student I'm expecting in future, where you can be in any field, you can create small language models whereby the AI agents can be as a software stand with you to resolve problems. The second one we call it is multimodality. Multimodality gives you the option of resolving text, videos, images, all this kind of a thing it can do, faster search, and you can write algorithms or you can write models with that. The third most important thing, we call it RAG. It's a retrieval augmented generation. This is something very specific where we can do from the database. Now you are asking a question in ChatGPT in other models, but it can go to the database, validate and provide you the right information. And the fourth one, we call it pre-trained AI models. This is where today it may look like hey, somebody is coming and talking about these things, how it is going to be useful. You yourself in your life, in the next year, 2, 3 years, you people will be working on training AI models. But the last one is very, very important. All of you, including us, all of us need to know something called prompt engineering. Prompting is going to play the major role for all the youngsters, because you have to ask the right question. If you don't know to ask the right question, those who can ask the right question will be the brilliant people and successful people in this AI world. So I don't want to go more, because this is a vast subject. We can talk in detail in our next session, but thanks for giving this opportunity to address you all. It was a great pleasure and an honor for me to stand in front and present this today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Ganesh Radhakrishnan. We are amazed to hear about your achievements. Thank you for your thought-provoking talk and giving us an insight on the current trends in AI and artificial superintelligence and OI. Thank you, sir. Now, the time has now arrived to officially inaugurate the DTI. So I request our esteemed Chief Guest, Dr. Palanivel Thiagarajan, our Honorable Minister for Information Technology and Digital Services, Government of Tamil Nadu, to launch DTI. Honorable Minister for Information Technology and Digital Services, Government of Tamil Nadu, will announce the first global DTI team and present the solemn inaugural address.
Good morning, thank you. I think we're starting to lose some of the crowd here because we're running over time, so I'll try and be as brief as possible. The principal, Dr. Lillian Jasper, the founder and the motivator of much of RISE's energy and activities, the Reverend Dr. Jagat Jasper, my fellow dignitaries on the stage, my friend Cecil Sundar, Mr. Ganesh Radhakrishnan, Mr. Madhyalagan, my friends in the audience, distinguished guests, Tan Sri Palan, Sid Ahmed, many distinguished guests here, faculty, students, friends, thank you very much for inviting me. I apologize, we're a bit late getting started, but the assembly is on and there's a lot of activity going on, so we're a bit running behind. I must start by saying that I'm very happy to be back in WCC and in this auditorium. I think the first time I came here was 5-6 years ago as an MLA for a RISE event. I've had the occasion to come back to WCC maybe 5 or 6 times since then for various events, for quizzes, for conferences, for other reasons. And every time I come, I remark upon the fact that much of our progress as a society in Tamil Nadu is attributable to contributions of the Christian missionaries who came and set up brilliant institutions like the Women's Christian College and changed our society because, as we all know now, economically and developmentally, the progress of women is probably the single biggest driver of the progress of a society. So the fact that they focused on women's education in multiple places, I think, is commendable. I had, by coincidence, the opportunity to be at Stella Maris College yesterday for some other international AI conference. And I'm very pleased to see that such eminent colleges are continuously keeping their students at the cutting edge of what is going on in science and technology and other fields. I also remarked that I had the opportunity to go to CMC Vellore for a convocation, and I noted that it was probably, to my understanding, the only medical college I know of, at least, maybe certainly in India, which was started solely for women, and then they eventually let men in. So, you know, these kinds of things have profoundly shaped our society by giving access to education for women in an equitable way and at a world-class level. I'm also reminded that the progress of our society has been driven so much by relative universal access to education. On last Friday, the 3rd of January, I was the chief guest at the College of Engineering, Guindy, the oldest engineering college in India, at their annual global alumni meet. And then subsequently on Saturday, I was also the guest of honor at my own alumni meet, NIT Trichy. And my fellow kind of distinguished guest was Thiru N. Chandrasekaran, the chairman of Tata Sons, who graduated from NIT Trichy in 1987, the same year I did. He got his MCA, I got my BTech honors. He was one of the few people who stayed behind. At that point, Tamil Nadu was producing so many brilliant engineers, but most of us went overseas. And many of us did well overseas, but I was also very pleased to see that people like Chandra, who stayed back, had gone on to have such a deep impact on Indian industry and Indian progress. The story of Tamil Nadu is really the story of our human capital. Ever since the first Justice Party governments of the 1920s till today, the notion of compulsory elementary education back then for boys and girls, now all the way to these kinds of events at these kinds of premier institutions. We have been all about inclusion, all about developing human capital. In fact, I read a statistic the other day that something like 11% of the Fortune 500 companies in the world are led by Indians, and by my best estimate, about 30% of those Indians are Tamils. So that just goes to show you roughly how important our human capital is. Our Chief Minister recognized this early in our government in 2021 when we set up the Global Economic Advisory Council for him. He mentioned in his opening speech that he envisions Tamil Nadu to be, for the next generation at least, the premier source of human capital in the world, and all our efforts, all our schemes, from the Pudumai Pens, Tamil Pudalvan, Nan Mudalvan, all the schemes are aimed at making sure that our people develop and progress in a global environment where there's a huge shortfall of young people around the world. Qualified young people are going to drive the future, drive the economic empowerment, not just of their home countries, but of their country's position in the global economy. And India in general, but Tamil Nadu in particular, this is our greatest strength. The reason I say that is that in many ways, Father Jagat Gasper has been kind of prescient. He has realized the value of this Tamil human capital around the world and has started this initiative of the RISE many years ahead of time. I remember attending the first RISE conference, I think it was in Madurai, many years ago. And I remember attending the first international conference of the RISE in Malaysia at Cyberjaya at Tan Sri Palan's University. So I think in that sense, this is the kind of integrating force or initiative that really gets us to leverage the capital that we've already developed and has gone on to succeed all over the world, like my friend Cecil, like Ganesh Ramachandran, like Tan Sri Palan, like Sid Ahmed, who can come back and connect and inspire and guide a lot of the talent that we have here, and then facilitate for the entrepreneurs, particularly the MSMEs who may not have access. This RISE can be a wonderful channel or avenue or integrator, accelerator, I would say. In that sense, I'm happy we've opened or inaugurated yet another initiative around deep tech. I don't think there's much for me to say about the topic itself after experts like Cecil and Ganesh have spoken. I will just say that I'm old enough to have seen the evolution of technology and the evolution of AI, or the nth coming, the third or fourth coming of AI in my time. I used to be a chemical engineer, I used to be in math modeling, my original master's was in operations research. And I've seen the evolution of algorithms, of heuristics, of computing. I would say what's different this time is that we have now reached a convergence. Through things like IoT, we are collecting data at granularity and at scale that we have never seen before, and it's coming continuously. The ability to store, to augment, to annotate, to, I would say, parse this data has become so good that now we have seen the advent of big data, which was kind of the founding block for deep tech. And then, of course, once you have that much data, if you have the enormous processing capability that comes from things like the GPUs now and eventually quantum computing, then you have the capacity to do the kinds of automated or autonomous, I would say, rather than automated, autonomous processing, insights, decision making, and outcomes which were never seen before. So whether we're talking about AI or generative AI or general intelligence, artificial general intelligence, as Ganesh spoke about, we are definitely in an era of profound change. And this change is going to last for a long time. This is not something that's like an on-off switch. It's not like yesterday was the era of pre-AI and today's the era of AI. In many ways, this has been an evolution that is coming for a long time. And right now, the bottlenecks are not just about the design of things like quantum computers or the Willow chip, as Ganesh pointed out, is a huge breakthrough because of its auto-correction of the errors in processing. But also in terms of the amount of data, the transferability of it, the access to it, the hosting of it, the notion of clouds, where you don't have to spend $100 million to be able to access $100 million of computing power. You can actually buy 10 minutes of it and do all the pre-work with other things and then just get 10 minutes of it at a very reasonable cost. So these network effects, where you can find resources all around the world, is going to open up a lot of innovation. But the reality is that it's probably going to be 10 to 20 years before our lives are profoundly changed. We can start to see the change now, but it's probably going to be 10 to 20 years before our lives, before the nature of our jobs are profoundly changed. There's going to be a lot more energy that has to be generated to power all these data centers and these computers. There's going to be a lot more chips that have to be manufactured or quantum computers that have to be manufactured that can operate at room temperature and not need special environments. And there's going to be a lot more algorithms and a lot more insights that need to be done. For the foreseeable future, I think this is only going to be an increase in the employment opportunities. Change, big change in the nature of work, but overall volume of work till we get the machines sophisticated enough to process what the human eye can process, for example, probably takes a machine thousands and thousands of steps and passing of data. Over time, the machines will get better and better, but that's probably not a 1 day, 1 year, 1 decade thing. In my view, it's going to take 1 generation before we can get there. But as somebody pointed out, make no mistake, if you had infinite amounts of data and relatively low cost or easily accessible processing capability, there is no human being in any field that is inherently as good as a machine that has infinite access to data. Let's take things like the legal field or the field of medicine. We can see how machines can process cases, case arguments, and predict likely judgments, not just based on the case law, but based on the track record of that judge, those lawyers, and therefore what is the likely outcome ahead of it being put out. Now, these are very dangerous things because, of course, on the one hand, we don't want to give up autonomy to a machine. On the other hand, as I say, particularly in fields like law and medicine, the enormous upside of having relatively infinite memory, relatively ubiquitous access is unbelievable. I went and opened the Chennai office of an AI company in radiology last year. And what they have is an almost universal set of chest x-rays, one of many things, of the entire country through the public health system. Over time, that machine has learned, because it sees x-rays not just of one person, of many people, but of every person over time, that machine can process an x-ray image. And unlike a human being who's answering a question, normally you go to a doctor, they say take an x-ray, goes to a radiologist. The radiologist is trying to answer the question that physician asked, is there an indication of this disease? The machine is not doing that. The machine is looking at the x-ray and saying, what all possible problems or variations or deviations have I seen here, and compared to all the X-rays I've seen in the past, almost every single X-ray, what is likely to be an effect 2 years or 5 years from now if the X-ray looks like this today. No human being in the world has the capacity. Not the best doctor in the world has the capacity, because nobody has infinite memory. So in that sense, you are going to see more and more of such applications. You are going to see more and more. Now, of course, from a government perspective, we want to regulate this. Even if the machine does all this brilliant analysis, the medical profession, the health regulations will say, unless some doctor signs off on it and says, this is the interpretation, I agree. We can't be sending these things out, right? Even though the machines, and of course, once you get to the machine, as they pointed out, the biggest advantage of the machine is it doesn't know the difference between 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. and 2 a.m. It doesn't feel tired after lunch. It doesn't have blood circulation variation based on digestion. So at some level, the machine is always going to be better. And at some other level, we're always going to have to regulate and have some human interpretation of it. So in that sense, yesterday I spoke about many of the applications we see in government. We have seen from analyzing customer sentiment to revenue augmentation in taxes to automated anti-corruption measures. We have seen in places like Brazil, pension processing. We have seen in the UK where the machines automatically decide who's there. We have done some of this in many of the schemes that our government has brought, starting when I was finance minister. We started aggregating data that the government held. As you can imagine, in any society, the government is the single biggest holder of data. It knows everything about everybody. It may not be in the right form, but it knows everything about everybody. It knows your birth certificates, your medical records, your education, your community, everything. So if we can put all of these together, we can basically start auto-processing. And I'm happy to say that efforts that I initiated back when I was finance minister, now under something called the TNE Governance Agency, which is in our IT department, when the Chief Minister decided to expand the scholarship scheme from Pudumai Pen to Tamil Pudalvan, then our machines were auto-generating the list of eligible people without waiting for people to say that I am applying for this. So in that sense, we are doing our own bit. I think there's going to be profound change. I personally see huge opportunity in improving the way government functions and in reducing the friction that citizens who interact with the government often face, from simple frictions like having to travel to a government office or see a government employee not once, maybe more than once, to more insidious problems like rent seeking or gatekeeping. I think all these can be profoundly improved by the application of a lot of these technologies. We have started. I hope we'll be able to do a lot more. So with that, let me wrap up and say that for all of you here, this is going to be a tremendous opportunity to learn, ask a lot of questions. You have brilliant experts who have done this in ways that most people haven't. Think outside the box. As Cecil said, this is a democratizing change. It is going to change the nature. My friend Rajesh Nambiar, who used to run Cognizant, is now the head of NASCOM. Last time at a conference, he said, do you know what is going to be the most common programming language of the future? And, some people said Python and this and that and everything. He said, no, it's going to be English, because prompt engineering is going to become so important that basically English is going to be the basis on which you interact with the machines. So this is going to be an era of tremendous change, potentially opens up opportunities for non-technical specialists. I'm reminded of a clip somebody sent me of Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, the big GPU chip maker, whose market capitalization also is in the trillions of dollars like Microsoft. And when somebody asked him, what should we be teaching our what kind of computer skills should we be teaching our children? What kind of programming skills will be in the future? I think it was at Davos last year. And he said, the point of these technologies, of big data, of deep tech, of AI, of quantum, is that the machine does all the programming itself. So you don't need to teach them programming. You teach them some basic science like biology or chemistry or philosophy or the law. You teach them the bases for how human society interacts and how science evolves. The programming part, the machine will take care of itself. So that's going to be a big change because we no longer need to have all these years of expertise to be writing programs. The machine will write its own kind of algorithm. In that sense, again, as I say, this is a time for you to be hugely optimistic, but also huge.
பாரம்பரிய திருவிழாவை கொண்டாடுவோம் புத்தாடை பொங்கலோடு. The Chennai Silks. Let the celebrations begin.
இப்போது புதிய அறிமுகம் ஆச்சி ஹோட்டல் சாம்பார் 50 கிராம் ரூபாய் 20 மட்டுமே.
Taste the Daily. Taste the Daily.